You're listening to the practice of a Hoodoo Baptist, my personal journey of root work, faith, and ancestral wisdom. This is where I honor the ones that came before me and share what's been passed down and walk you through my experiences of being unapologetically aligned, covered by spirit, guided by blood. You can't call Hoodoo a practice if you don't live it. Root work isn't a look, it's a life. It's how you move. It's how you treat people. It's how you carry yourself when no one's watching. It's an oral tradition. It's community. It's a culture. I don't do this for content. I do this for protection. I do this for healing. I do this for my family, my ancestral family. I do this because I was raised on discernment and devotion, not aesthetics, and damn sure not approval. Hoodoo is not a performance. I'm going to say that again. Hoodoo is not a performance. It's not a costume. It's not a vibe. It's not a trend. And I know there are people out there that think it's a trend, that think it's a costume, that think of it as like a certain aesthetic or a look. Everything else just falls into like a label or a category, and it's just really important to speak about hoodoo as an ethno religion, as a like spiritual tradition and practice, a way of living, a culture even, like. And there's different variations of it. Like a hoodoo practitioner raised in Mobile, Alabama may live and practice differently than a hoodoo practitioner raised in the Low Country. And that practitioner may be completely different from a hoodoo practitioner raised in New Orleans. So it doesn't always look the same. It's not we're not a monolith, just like Black folks. We're not a monolith. Um, we are believers. We are um, people who are carrying on the oral tradition, and and we are also carrying on the memory of our ancestors. And it's important for folks to understand that this is not demonic. This is not devil worship. This is not even witchcraft. This is indigenous. This is African American. This is um, this is a manifestation of the ancestors that survive Mafa. This is a manifestation of the ancestors who kept going. Okay, it's not a performance. It's not crystals on your desk and vibes on your Instagram feed. Like it's none of that shit. It's discipline. It's ancestral. It's a way of being. It's not just doing the things like the way that we walk and talk, and the way that we do not tolerate racist bullshit. We do not tolerate um, fake ass supremacy of folks who are non-black. Like, we don't tolerate anti-blackness. I don't even believe that white supremacy is a thing in a sense of it being supreme. Like, it's just whiteness to me. And I'm not saying like these isms and systems do not exist. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like, if whiteness is truly so supreme, it wouldn't need to break down and erase other spaces in order to build itself up. If you're truly supreme, you wouldn't need to debilitate other spaces or people. You wouldn't need um, to make others feel inferior in order for you to feel or be, allegedly be superior. Like it's fake, it's propaganda, it's an illusion, it's ego and evil essentially. So it's important for folks to just understand that hoodoo is the tradition and spiritual practices of believers who never abandoned their culture. They never um, erased their memory of their native tongue or their ways and practices. Like it's, just a testament to those who persevered, who carry on, and who know who they are. I can tap in a little more on this episode about like how I live in my practice. Um, yeah, because I would say that for the first half of my life thus far, it was just, just me accepting the family that I was born in, and having this beautiful example of love and acceptance. Because I grew up with so many different types of people in my family, even though I'm from Alabama, and I have family who survived, the antebellum South, survived Jim Crow, survived sharecropping, survived in emancipation, enslavement, and so many other harms that the U.S. government allowed. And yeah, I'm just truly blessed to have had this great experience of knowing people who just did not, they just had a different life, and they did not have the freedoms that I have today, um, in many ways. And it's just been a beautiful experience. Like growing up, I have family members who are family member who's Muslim, Christian, Baptist, AME, Buddhist, Jehovah's Witness, um, and yeah, and of course like Hoodoo. One side of my family is Muskogee Creek, um, or I could just say Creek, of the Muskogee Nation, even though they really truly don't fuck with descendants of Creek freedmen, um, which is which I am a descendant of a Creek freedman. And then yeah, another side of my family, I have Alabama Creoles. I can actually go back on my ancestral tree, my family tree. I can go back up into my 11th great grandparent or 11th grandparent, I believe. Yeah, 11th great grandparent, I believe, all the way back. I can go all the way back on one side of the family up into the enslaver. I can go all the way back to um to folks on the Dawes roll. Um yeah, like I have papers, I've seen papers, so I know how far I can go back. So genealogy is a huge part of my practice. Um yeah, and for me, like regular prayer, regular cleansing, talking to my ancestors, just like I would talk to and check up on, my living family members and friends. So yeah, like speaking to spirit is super important. And yeah, it's part of my everyday life. Like, just being very conscious of what I'm doing, what I'm saying, being just intentional about what I'm doing, what I'm saying, from the food that I eat to what I drink. I don't smoke. I don't drink alcohol. I don't fuck with certain people. Yeah, it's like even in certain environments, I don't really like to be around certain, be in certain environments. And, if I have to or what I do, it's like, I do a lot of my cleansing. Cleansing is super, super important. And then, it's all about like discernment, right? Like I talked about discernment. I dedicated an entire episode to discernment. So yeah, discernment, it's necessary, like in my business, in my doula work, in my partnerships, personal and professional partnerships. It's yeah, it's every day. It's in everything. I also, huge part of my practice is saying no. No is one of the biggest stress relievers. That's not necessarily a cuss word, in my book. So, yeah, saying no, protects my peace most of the time. No, saying no definitely protects my peace. Um, you know, saying, I just love that word no. Like, no is so, it's just so freeing. Like, no, I know I don't want to do this. No, I don't want to go to your party. No, I'm not interested in talking to you. No, I'm all right on that date. I'm straight. No, you go on. You go have a good time. Um, yeah, and then, of course, like my yes is just super intentional. When I say yes, I mean it, you know. Um, and I'm opening up, myself to experiences, whether new or, familiar. And saying yes can also be liberating, So all about intention. It's all about intention. Um, yeah, even like with my decision to stop drinking and smoking, because it's been years that I've been sober. So yeah, even that, like I tried to make sure that wasn't about ego and just really kept that decision, centered on my health. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's just I try not to make it a huge part of like who I am, but it just feels so natural to me because I just never really been a drinker like that. I indulged into cannabis, fairly heavy, I would say, before I stopped um, partaking in cannabis. So yeah, but I definitely felt like doing so honored my body and honored my spirit. And yeah, I feel much more clear. Um, yeah, like I don't know what it's like for other people, but for me, I definitely felt this. I definitely felt a different kick into my brain, or a different level, um, when after like a few months, maybe like around 6 or 7 months of not drinking or smoking, I definitely felt a different energy about myself. I feel like my breathing changed too. And yeah, I also think just emotionally and spiritually, it was just like a different kick, like a different level, maybe, a different gear of some sort, when it came to like really trying to, like be clear about things, and just be able to make certain decisions and just really be clear and focus, like, it's like I got extra armor to, extra armor like against distractions and shit, making it more about like my health and my time, and my energy and the space that I'm in. So yeah, I think I definitely believe that my sobriety contributed to my hoodoo practice going up a notch or being at a different level, a more healthier level too. Like my interests change, and I just felt a little, more focused, and yeah, and just the shift happened for me, and I'm super super grateful, super grateful for that. Yeah, because I think it really helped with my spiritual integrity, and I think spiritual integrity is spiritual power. Like, and get back to like this whole aesthetics thing. Like, y'all don't need 100 candles. Y'all don't need like a bunch of different things on your altars. Like, you just don't need. You don't need all of that. You don't need 100 candles if your energy isn't clear. You don't need a spell if your mouth is reckless. You really gotta work on your shit. And I can say this to someone with like my experience and me working on this. I think I'm a forever be working on this shit when it comes to like spiritual integrity. I'ma always work on this, even like when I'm talking about um any issues that I have in therapy, when I'm talking to my therapist about like any issues I have with friends or family, and just me like really tapping back into like speaking with my inner child and tapping back in with her. I'm just always thinking about like just integrity aspect of it. Um, but yeah, like you really got to get yourself right before you're like tapping into certain practices. I think yeah, like doing root work, like doula work, even like for example, I'm not trying to do doula work if I don't have my own shit together. So I don't take up a client or do certain, what I'm saying? Like, I just want my energy to be right. My energy can't be right and I'm touching somebody, or I have my hands on somebody's head or hugging people. Like, no, not, I'm not trying to, um, what I'm saying? Like, cause any problems, issues, and, and just continue to be a problem. No. So, got to do that work to, in internal work, spiritual work, that shadow work. Okay? It's required. It is required. Doing that shadow work, handling my business, clearing out my energy, cleansing. That's necessary. You don't need tools if you haven't tuned in. Like, you can, what I'm saying? Like, everybody wants to like try to do spell work and root work, but they haven't done their work, their own personal work, you know. Um because that power, it comes with alignment. So if you're not aligned, it's not going to work. If you're, cuz the timing, what you're doing, what you're thinking, how you're feeling, all that shit got to be right before anything happens. I learned that the hard way. And it's crazy because these are certain things that I just knew and felt like ever since I was a kid. But as you get older, and especially when you're a teenager, you think you know what you're doing, you think you know everything, and and you get distracted, and add in that extra confidence that just comes out of nowhere, maybe sometimes a little bit of audacity. Okay. And yeah, it's crazy how life would just snatch your ass up and humble you. Okay. Yeah. So do the work. I'm always doing the work. And take it from me, I used to have a badass attitude. Um, I used to be much more angrier than what I am now. Um, yeah, like a huge chunk of my life, I just did not like people, and definitely did not love a lot of people. Um, yeah, and it's just, people just used to take up a lot of my energy. And, I had to snap out of it, of allowing all of that, and understand, reevaluate boundaries, and learn, learn more and more, um, you know, but yeah, make mistakes and shit. Um, we're human. But once I started doing that work, going to therapy, having my community, having tough conversations with elders, tapping into myself with, just solitude and prayer, cleansing and learning, reading, writing, like, talking some things through, getting some things out. Heavy on the therapy. Did I say therapy? I said therapy. So heavy on it. One more again. Okay. Doing that work because, yeah, my mouth was reckless. It still can be sometimes, you know, but I definitely am much more tapped into who I am than I was before. So this is me talking and getting, you know, um, coming all the way out into who I am, super comfortable in my skin. And yeah, it's shaped me so much. And maybe that's a reason why I, you know, feel a sense of, I don't know if it's necessarily pride, but I definitely feel confident being in my hoodoo practice and doing the things in the tradition, and carrying out my own, family's tradition, and really being intentional about like diving deep into it. I'm still finding out more things about the tradition as far as like what my great grandmother did, and tapping into um, the lifestyle of some other ancestors that I didn't get a chance to meet, and understanding what their life was like on the land, in Alabama and Oklahoma, on the reservation. How did they get here? Like all of these things definitely feed into me, give me power, which is why I said like genealogy is such a huge part of my practice. And I would say herbalism is also a huge, deep part of my practice. Because, yeah, I would say, yeah, I can become, sometimes be a little more obsessed with my health. um, so, so yeah, I'm super grateful for everything that I've been through and experienced. And I hope that, anyone who is new to this practice is ready to do that work. If you're new to this work, slow down. You don't have to be in a rush. It's not about being in a rush. You are right on time. You are not late. You are right on time. Okay? Your ancestors have been there. They've been waiting on you. They've been waiting on us. They've been there. We just haven't. So now you are here, and now it's your time. Just slow down. I don't think, my thing is like, I don't think it's super necessary to like try to jump into like spell work, or jump into, you know what I'm saying, like even an African tradition religion, like, you don't have to rush to like jump into, trying to be initiated. Like, it happens when it's supposed to happen. Okay. You don't have to know everything either. Like, just live what you know. You really don't have to. I don't know everything. I don't. I don't want to. I don't know how you feel, how y'all feel out there, but I don't want to know everything. You know what I'm saying? just live what you know. I literally just live what I know. And as I'm continuing to do the work, be in the practice, I'm learning more and more each day. Like with each, interaction or engagement, whether it's digital or in real life, with folks in my community, I'm learning. I'm learning more about the life of Hoodoo practitioners in the Low Country, Gullah Geechee. Like, I'm learning more about how they did their thing. I'm learning more about how um, folks in Oklahoma, you know what I'm saying, and even Louisiana, how those practitioners, migrated and did do their thing. So it's really beautiful though, like to learn about all these different variations of the tradition and practice. And, I think we all have a common thread, and that common thread is our love for our people and our love and understanding of the oral tradition and why it's so important. you know I also think another common thread that we have is that we all within the community, the Hoodoo community, we all have faced some type of discrimination or harm or bullshit, violence, due to the bullshit of folks demonizing the practice, demonizing the tradition, demonizing our religion, even though most folks do not know that they are practicing hoodoo. Most Black Americans may not know and understand why they do certain things that they do, why this is a tradition, why is this something that they eat on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day? Why is this something that they cook? Why is it that they cook, X, Y, and Z this way? Like, you know, why is it that we consume certain plants or herbs, but we don't even call them plants or herbs? We call them something else. We call them what the white man call them, but we don't call it by its original name. Like, there's just so many things. So I think, like, yeah, a lot of us have experienced some type of harm, violence, or discrimination due to the demonization of our religion, of our practices, of our tradition. So it's important for us to be, it's important for us to yeah, to be hoodoo, to live it. And again, like I said, live what you know. You don't have to know everything. Start with integrity. Let your practice be quiet if it needs be. I would definitely say that my practice has for sure been quiet for the majority of my life, and now I've decided um, to be a bit more public with it outside of my own community, for the sake of educating people and eliminating the stigma. So, but yeah, integrity means a lot to me. So I definitely would definitely say to start with integrity and let spirit guide you as you go. So that's my closing. If you're new to this work, slow down. You don't have to know everything. Just live what you know. Start with integrity. Let your practice be quiet if it needs to be. Spirit will guide you as you go. You've been listening to the practice of a Hoodoo Baptist. This is my altar, my process, my truth, where I honor those who came before me and speak what was once kept in silence, covered by spirit, guided by blood. Until next time, peace.